I mean, how am I gonna get better? If I'm not playing against the best guys. It's just, I do believe in that, honestly. So, but as I said before, I think it's just gonna be better moving forward.
Look, I'm gonna be real with you right now. On June 26, 2024, something happened at the NBA draft that should have never happened. A kid from Chicago, born and raised on the South Side, basketball royalty in his DNA, sat in that green room and watched team after team pass on him. Detroit passed, Charlotte passed, Portland, San Antonio, Toronto, all of them said no. By the time Adam Silver walked to that podium to announce the 11th pick, Matas Buzelis wasn't supposed to be there. 6 months earlier, mock drafts had him going top 5. Some had him at number 1. This is a 6'10" forward who moves like a 6'4" guard. The kind of player who can handle the ball, shoot from anywhere, and defend multiple positions. The perfect modern NBA player. And 10 teams just walked away. But here's what nobody realized in that moment. Here's what every single scout, GM, and analyst completely missed. They weren't passing on a bust. They were passing on a future all-star who was about to prove every single one of them wrong in the most spectacular way possible. And I'm going to show you exactly how he did it, because the Matas Buzelis story isn't just about basketball. It's about legacy, redemption, and what happens when you bet on yourself even when the whole world stops believing. If you stick around until the end of this video, you're going to understand why Matas Buzelis might be the steal of the 2024 draft. And trust me, you're going to want to be early on this one.
I remember, I think 6th grade, I wasn't even playing. I was on the bench. I didn't even like basketball. I was a swimmer. I used to swim. So my mom found me a really good coach, Dimitri Pirshin. He's from Chicago. He coaches full package athletics. And
but I guess to go back to my question, which I didn't know this information, that you basically said fuck basketball and fuck swimming apparently as well in 7th grade. There were no players that you were like, oh, I want to be like this guy.
No,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
I wasn't looking at anyone. I wasn't watching any basketball. I was just playing it.
Let's go back to the beginning, because Matas Buzelis isn't some random prospect who came out of nowhere. This is generational talent, and I mean that literally. His father, Aidas, was a professional basketball player in Lithuania's top league. His mother, Kristina, wasn't just any player. She was one of the most promising basketball talents of her entire generation in Lithuania, representing the national youth teams. His maternal grandfather played professionally and coached. His paternal grandfather, Petras, was a straight-up legend, 6 championships with Lithuania's biggest club. So when the Buzelis family immigrated to the United States in the early 2000s and settled in Chicago, basketball wasn't just in Matas's blood. It was his inheritance. It was his destiny. But here's the crazy part. Matas almost never played basketball. Born on October 13th, 2004, young Matas Buzelis wasn't spending his childhood in gyms. He was in the pool. Seriously, this kid was a competitive swimmer, and he wasn't just good. He was among the best under 10 and under 12 breaststroke swimmers in the entire state of Illinois. He also attended gymnastics school with his siblings, developing the kind of flexibility, balance, and body control that you just can't teach. And you know what? The last time we saw an elite swimmer transition to basketball, Tim Duncan. Yeah, that Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time, was a teenage swimming champion in the 50-meter, 100-meter, and 400-meter freestyle. He was training for the 1992 Olympics before Hurricane Hugo destroyed the only Olympic pool in St. Croix, and his fear of sharks ended his swimming career at 14. He picked up basketball and became a Hall of Famer. Think about that for a second. All that core strength from swimming and gymnastics, all that coordination, all that athletic foundation, that wasn't from basketball, that was from sports most NBA players never touched. And when Buzelis finally did pick up a basketball, all of that translated into something special. He had athleticism and body awareness that most kids his age couldn't comprehend. By the time Buzelis hit high school, it was over. He transferred to Brewster Academy in New Hampshire, the same school that produced Donovan Mitchell, and immediately became a problem. As a junior, he won the 2021-22 New Hampshire Player of the Year. Then he transferred again to Sunrise Christian Academy in Kansas and won the 2022-23 Kansas Boys Basketball Player of the Year, the 2023 McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand Classic, Nike Hoop Summit, every major showcase, Matas showed up and showed out, and at the McDonald's All-American Dunk Contest, while everyone was tuning in to watch Bronny James 20 years after his father competed, it was Matas Buzelis, the Lithuanian kid from Chicago, who absolutely stole the show. ESPN ranked him number 5 in their 2023 recruiting class. 247 Sports had him at 5, Rivals had him at 4. This was a consensus 5-star recruit, and scouts couldn't stop talking about his game. His trainer, Dmitry Pershin, put it perfectly. He's pretty much a 6'10 point guard. A lot of people will write he's a wing or stretch forward, but he moves like a guard. He can pass, use screens, be a good shooter. He's a freak athlete genetically. That's what made him special. A 6'10 forward with point guard handles. Kentucky wanted him. North Carolina wanted him. Duke, Wake Forest, Florida State. Everybody wanted Matas Buzelis. And then he did something that shocked everyone. He turned them all down.
I don't know. I think I'm a different player. I think college is obviously a good route. You know, I'm not gonna say college isn't a good choice, because it is. That's where most people get drafted from. But I think with my play style, like the professional league is, I think, best for me. But also, you know, you're trying to be a pro at the end of the day. That's what everyone's trying to be. So
yeah, it makes sense. I was reading an article. You kind of talked about how felt like in college, and it's a keen observation for a young man to make, but you felt like in college, you were worried potentially about being put into a box, and I thought that was pretty spot on.
Instead of going to college, Buzelis signed with the G League Ignite for a 1-year, $1 million deal. And look, I get it. $1 million at 18 years old? That's life-changing money. But Buzelis didn't just take the money and coast. He believed the G League was the best place to prepare for the NBA. Professional rules, NBA coaches, pro-level competition every single night. On paper, it made perfect sense. And here's where that Tim Duncan work ethic came in. Buzelis told Tissot Watches in a pre-draft interview, "I continually find myself in the gym day in and day out, working on every detail of my game to make it perfect." His coach Billy Donovan would later say, "The guys that make the most growth are the guys that are really driven and motivated." Matas displayed that. Nobody doubts his work ethic. He's a competitor who demonstrates a desire to be great. But here's what nobody saw coming. The 2023-24 G League Ignite season was an absolute disaster. They went 232, 2 wins, 32 losses, the worst record in G League history, the lowest winning percentage ever at .059. They lost 32 of their 34 games. And while Buzelis was actually productive, 14.1 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 2.1 blocks, and 0.9 steals per game, none of that mattered because his team couldn't win. The narrative became toxic. If Buzelis and his teammate Ron Holland, both projected lottery picks, couldn't lead this team to wins in the G League, how were they supposed to come to the NBA and turn around a struggling franchise? The 27.3% three-point shooting didn't help either. Scouts started questioning his shot, they questioned his decision-making, they questioned whether he was ready, and when the NBA announced they were shutting down the entire G League Ignite program after that season, it felt like the final nail in the coffin. By draft night, Matas Buzelis, once projected top 3, had fallen to number 11.
I mean, you know, how am I gonna get better? You know, if I'm not playing against the best guys. It's just, I do believe in that, honestly. So, but as I said before, I think it's just going to be better moving forward.
Coming to Chicago should have been a dream. Hometown kid, playing for the Bulls, crowds cheering your name. But reality hit different. Buzelis started the season buried on the bench. Coach Billy Donovan couldn't figure out where to play him. Was he a 2, a 3, a 4? Through the first 47 games of the season, Buzelis played just 13.3 minutes per game. He was averaging 5.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 0.4 assists. The 11th pick was barely playing, and Buzelis wasn't quiet about it. He went to the media, frustrated, saying, "How am I going to get better if I'm not playing against the best guys?" Fans were getting restless. The team wasn't competitive anyway. They had basically no chance at the playoffs, So why weren't they playing their lottery pick? Even Coach Billy Donovan had to address it publicly, saying Buzelis needed to earn his minutes and play harder on every possession. But then everything changed. On February 4th, the Bulls traded Zach LaVine to Sacramento, and suddenly there were minutes available. Real minutes, starter minutes. February 4th wasn't just when LaVine left. It was the night Matas Buzelis arrived. Against the Miami Heat, in front of a home crowd, Buzelis went absolutely nuclear. He shot 10 for 10 from the field. Perfect. Not a single miss. He dropped 24 points in a 133-124 victory, and the United Center lost its mind. That was just the beginning. From that point forward, Buzelis wasn't coming off the bench anymore. He was a starter, and his numbers exploded. Over the final 33 games of the season, he averaged 13.3 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1.1 blocks per game on 47.3% shooting from the field, 36% from 3, and 81% from the free throw line.
That's the space they need when they don't worry about you blocking the shot. Look at this play by Hayes, who will pick up the assist. Look at this defense again. Baseline, Giddy. Boy, Lucas just inviting him to shoot. Buzelis will certainly take it and hit it. So Connect finally gets into the game. Herder with the block shot, and they're running. They're throwing it down.
On March 22nd, against the Lakers at Crypto.com Arena, Buzelis dropped a career-high 31 points on 12 of 18 shooting with 5 three-pointers. A week later against the Mavericks, he put up 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, becoming just the third Bulls rookie ever to achieve that stat line. The other two, Michael Jordan and Charles Oakley, that's the company he's in. By April, he recorded his first career double-double, 12 points and 12 rebounds against Portland. The Bulls went on an 18-15 run to close the season, finished as the 9th seed, and made the play-in tournament. And while they lost to Miami and were eliminated, nobody cared about that. They cared about what they'd just witnessed. A 20-year-old kid who went from bench player to franchise cornerstone in 3 months. Teammate Ayo Dosunmu summed it up perfectly. He loves the work. I have high praises for him, high expectations for him. He's starting to realize how strong he is and how he's able to dominate. Here's what makes Matas Buzelis special. It's not just the stats, though those are impressive. It's not just the highlights, though he's got plenty. It's the fact that he can genuinely do everything. He's 6'10" with point guard handles. He can finish with both hands at the rim. He can shoot 36% from 3 and 81% from the free throw line, which projects to elite shooting long term. He can guard multiple positions. He gets blocks, steals, rebounds. He can run the floor in transition and operate in the half court. He's ambidextrous, athletic, skilled, and most importantly, he's got that Tim Duncan work ethic. He's in the gym every single day, working on every detail. When Stephon Castle won Rookie of the Year this past season, Buzelis received exactly 1 third-place vote, finishing tied for 7th. That's disrespectful. That's the kind of thing that fuels a player, and I guarantee you Matas Buzelis is going to remember that. The 2024 draft was considered weak, just like 2013, and in 2013, Anthony Bennett went number 1 and lasted just 4 seasons in the NBA. But you know who went 15th in that draft? Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he became one of the best players of his generation. History doesn't repeat, but it definitely rhymes. 10 teams passed on Matas Buzelis, and in 5 years, when he's an all-star, when he's leading the Bulls back to relevance, when he's got his number hanging in the United Center rafters, those teams are going to wish they'd seen what Chicago saw. They're going to wish they'd believed in the kid from the South Side with basketball royalty in his blood, a swimmer's discipline, and a chip on his shoulder the size of Lake Michigan. If you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're going to be following Matas Buzelis all season long. Drop a comment and tell me, how many all-star appearances does Buzelis make in his career? I'm saying at least 3, but I think he's got superstar potential. Let's talk about it. This is your reminder. Don't sleep on greatness when it's right in front of you. Matas Buzelis is here, and the NBA is about to find out what Chicago already knows.